with this knife.
He's gonna cut himself.
What's up, guys? Max Scoble here for Destructoid, and I'm with Daniel and Dave from Spry, and you guys have a new game here to show off that is called The Road Not Taken. Is that right?
Right.
What is this game about besides Robert Frost's wonderful poetry?
So it's a puzzle roguelike, and basically your main character has one primary ability, which is he can levitate objects and he can throw objects. And using that ability, he has to sort the world around him. He has to adventure through this vast, really dangerous forest, help rescuing children that are lost in the woods. And there's all kinds of things he'll encounter. He encounters, some things are innocuous but difficult to deal with, like, you know, large stones that can't be moved easily or at all, or imps that get in his way and, you know, are resistant to his power. Some of them are more dangerous, like hawks that will swoop down and damage him and teleport him to other places, and or spiders, little spiders that will try to eat the kids that he's trying to rescue.
Okay.
So there, there's a variety of things you'll encounter. There's actually dozens of creatures and objects, and about 200 secrets in total that can be discovered in the game.
Okay.
So it's a really deep puzzle game with procedurally generated levels that you can play for dozens of hours.
Okay. Now, sorry, I saw you guys setting this up a little bit, and it seems like it's done in years. So is this kind of tie into the story? How does that?
Yeah. So your character has essentially a 15-year lifespan. Each mission represents 1 year, and as he plays, he gets older, and then at the end of the 15th year, he dies of old age. So that's as far as you can go if you play really well. Most people won't make it to year 15. They'll die well before that many times. So getting to year 15 and dying of old age is actually a pretty big accomplishment.
Okay. Where are we in the game right now?
Right now we're in year 3, so the game is still relatively easy. Well, for someone who's been playing for a lot like we have.
You just threw that little girl
yes.
clear across this forest path.
You rescued her by taking her to the mayor. There's 2 ways to rescue kids. You can reunite them with parents that are looking for them in the woods, or you can bring them back to the mayor. And so yeah, so Daniel's going around now. All the rooms that you're seeing are procedurally generated. There are some handcrafted puzzles that we've put into the game as well that are pretty cool. But this room, for example, is just totally randomly generated. There's a bunch of different things in there. There's those white and red spirits, which, Dan, can you walk on one of them? If you walk on them, they do damage, but sometimes you might strategically choose to do that because you want to clear up space. You can actually also use them for one of the big parts of the game is that there's a lot of things that you can craft. So those ghosts, speaking of, he just combined 3 beehives into a honey pot, which you can now eat and get energy. But there's a lot more to it. You can also use the red and white spirits, for example, to make items like an axe that you can use in the game.
Okay.
You can use them to create potions.
So it's not all just throwing children. You can also kill animals and stuff.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'd go so far as to say you basically can't win the game if you don't start to learn how the crafting system works and use it to make useful things. So one of my favorite strategies is to create a fireplace that makes the room warm and makes me lose less energy when I carry things around, and then create a special potion that lets me levitate the fireplace and take it with me from place to place.
Okay, this is pretty complex.
Yes.
It's very cute at a glance, and I'm like, oh, this is like a little kind of Chip's Challenge thing, but with the guy from Journey, but suddenly it's got immensely complex systems here.
That's right. It goes many levels deep. So you can see that Dank just made an axe. And then he can take that axe and take it to the other room and use it to make wood, and then he can take the wood and use it to make a fire, and it goes on and on and on. And there's that's not where it stops. Then you can use the fire to make food, and you can use it for all kinds of stuff. So it's much like for your viewers who've watched Don't Starve, who played Don't Starve. Yeah. Just like in Don't Starve, when you first start out, it's literally just run around and get the basics. But there's levels upon levels upon levels of stuff that you have to create if you want to be successful in that game. And this game is not really any different. It looks different, but they're very similar in that regard.
Now, how does each year end? Because do you have a set number of levels or set number of rooms to go through?
Well, the forest grows bigger as you go from year to year, because that's one of the things that makes it more difficult. This is a custom room, by the way. This is not procedurally generated. This is a puzzle that we put together, by hand, just because we thought it would be cool. And I don't know if Dank's gonna. Oh, there you go. That part of the trick of it is waiting for those things to collapse on themselves. But anyway, so the way you end a year is one of 2 things. Well, there's 3 ways. One way is die, which most people will do. Then the next way is rescue at least half of the kids. So up there you can see 3 out of 6. So he's already done it. And once you've rescued 3 out of 6 kids or more, you can go to the mayor and say, "All right, I'm out," and he'll let you do. And he'll let you do that. He'll be like, "Well, I guess that's enough to help us with next year's
Still 3
harvest."
kids out there.
Yeah, which is a lot of people don't feel super comfortable with that, and that's actually like good. That's that's an emotion we want to provoke. So, but you can, if you really feel like you need to, you can bail out at that point. And then the third way to end the mission is to rescue all the kids, and then the mission automatically terminates, and you go on to the next year. And like I said, you can do that up to 15 times, and then it's all over. Each year, the forest is going to get a little bit harder, a little bit bigger. The things that appear in it are going to be potentially, when they do damage, they do more damage, or they may require more tricks to get around, and that sort of thing. So right now you've just seen a few, but like I said, there's dozens of things that can appear in the game. Okay. The hawks, the spiders, the imps.
Yeah, and so you've got the homemade puzzle. That's not the procedurally generated one. Is that always going to show up, or is it like one of those kind of shuffling of the cards?
There are dozens of custom rooms, and you'll see some, you won't see others. You'd have to play for many, many hours to see them all. Which in some ways, like, oh, cool, and there's the ghost girl. So there's this, there's this ghost girl that's haunting you throughout the game, and we never fully explain why. You sort of start to get an idea why as you play, but that's just one of the story elements that pops up. Gosh, I forgot what I was saying before that. Anyway, so there's a lot of things like the custom rooms and the different objects and all the different secrets. Like, our expectation is the vast majority of players will never see everything we've done. And like, on one hand, that's really cool, and on the other hand, of course, as a creative person, you're like, oh, I wish people would see it all. But if you want to see it all, you really have to play a bunch or watch a bunch of YouTube videos.
Right. Well, people seem to get more and more sunk into roguelikes these days. That's definitely one of the hot big things. I've lost my girlfriend for weeks on end to Spelunky. Yeah. How long of a kind of investment is this, would you say? I mean, obviously an infinite amount of time, but like if you want to play through the game once, how long will that take you?
That's a good question. So if you're decent at the game, you can beat the whole thing, meaning reach mission 15 in about 7 hours, give or take. Like, partially because, again, the first missions you'll fly through and the later ones will take you longer, but no one's going to start off really good at the game, right? So, our expectation is you'll die a bunch of times, and maybe by the time you reach the 20th hour, you'll beat the game. If you want to see everything in the game and like rescue every single kid, you probably will play for 50 or 60 or 70 hours.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
All right. And how big do the levels get?
I think, where are we? I think 4x4 is our largest, or is it 3x4?
Yeah, it's mostly they get denser.
Yeah.
So the objects get a lot more complex.
Okay. Yeah.
You've got a really adorable cutscene happening right now.
Yes.
Do these come between each year?
No, this is something that happens after you beat the very first mission, and it's more of the laying out the story of like, what is this ghost girl? Why does my character care about her? And then there aren't too many cutscenes in the game. We tend, as a studio, we tend to avoid them. There's a few. So then you can see here that he beat the mission, he rescued all the kids, now he's back in town, and now he can talk to a bunch of the NPCs that are around. Oh, there's the doctor. He's also kind of a jerk.
I love those Victorian, or the plague masks.
Yeah.
Spooky doctors.
Thanks. A lot of people have complimented us on that. So the doctor is basically constantly reminding you that you're dying. He's not very nice. The mayor's also kind of a jerk. He appears to be immortal and kind of lords it over you. There's a lot of people who are kind of jerks in this game. A lot of the villagers are not jerks, but have complicated lives, just like people in real life. And I mean, that's one of the things we're trying to get across in this game in general, is that, like, as opposed to making yet another game where, oh, your relationships with NPCs improve, eventually you fall in love, yay, everything always goes well. In Road Not Taken, it's more like things happen, right? Like, two NPCs that you have a relationship with might get jealous with each other, and one might stop talking to you as a result. Or maybe one of them, after you've been, courting them for many years, suddenly gets sick, and you have to start bringing them medicine from the plague doctor, and if you don't, they die. Oh. Like, they literally just die.
Well, that's really dismal.
Yes.
But I mean, that's kind of one of the elements of roguelikes, is you do have to learn to let go and to lose. That's sort of a very, very impermanent genre.
You want to, we haven't shown people items, so you can actually, there's a whole item system in the game. When you level up your relationship with NPCs, you get these items that you can equip, and they change. Some of the early ones just make the game easier in some way. Like, that one gives you extra energy when you eat honey. It's a small thing, but some of them completely change the way you play the game. Like, there's this giant coffee mug that gives you 200 bonus energy, but also makes you take extra damage from things that hurt you. So
Okay.
you have to play the game very differently because basically you suddenly become much more sensitive to taking hits. This basement that he just walked into lets you ban up to 2 things that normally could spawn in the game.
Oh,
so
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's a kind of way of customizing your experience. So he just made it so that bears and spiky bushes can never appear.
God, I wish more games had that. That's a wonderful feature.
Glad you like it.
Fuck you, birds in Castlevania.
That's exactly it. We figured there would
Yeah.
be things that people would just hate so much. Now here's the interesting thing about Ronan Taken though. There's almost nothing in the game that even the worst, most awful objects you can encounter that doesn't have a secret good side if you know where to look and what to do. So like for example, people hate raccoons in this game because they look
What?
cute raccoons in this game. They look
What?
cute
Raccoons in this game. They look cute.
Yeah, I know. They don't seem so bad, right? They're cute and cuddly, but then if you throw them more than 2 spaces, they get angry and start attacking you mercilessly.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's funny. But so most people are like, oh, screw it. Screw raccoons, I want to ban them. Well, it turns out that if you know what you're doing, you can take raccoons, combine them with a campfire, and make raccoon stew, and that gives you energy. And all of a sudden, you're like, oh, raccoons are awesome. So, it's one of those things where we give you people the ability to ban things, but if you're really good at the game, there's almost nothing you would want to ban because there's always situations in which you can make it work for you. So that's one of those things. So actually, thanks. Before we close off, let's show some custom rooms. This is some of the handcrafted content that we put in that most people will never see unless they play a bunch of times. So this is an ice room. Ice blocks, when you throw them, switch places with whatever they hit.
Oh.
So right now he's not really accomplishing anything because he has to, but he can move around and that way he can kind of get to the berries that way. And so you can start to get an idea of how he would solve this room. But it would take a fair amount of time. Let's show them one of the boss rooms.
Ooh, boss rooms. Okay.
Baba Yaga. Oh, but we have to... Yeah, so Baba Yaga likes to... Oh, let's teleport out and walk in from the... Normally, of course, you wouldn't just appear in this room. You'd have to walk into it. So we'll show you the natural way. Oh, this is not a good room.
There's some raccoons there.
Yeah, and an angry ghost. Who just bit.
What happened?
And now it's not so peaceful.
Oh dear God. Yes!
Yeah. Alright, you want to use the cheat to open all doors so we can show Yaga? Yeah, okay. So you walk in, the door slams shut behind you, and then... Oh, the raccoon followed you! I've never seen that. That's awesome. Okay, this room is now radically harder. So Baba Yaga basically grabs the kids, and if you let her, she'll toss them into her cauldron, and the cauldron will eat them.
Okay.
So you've got to get them out. But you can't because the door is closed. And there goes one of them. Dude, you're not doing this very well. And then, so the way to get out...
This is such a nightmare right now. There's a woman eating children and you're getting like clawed by a raccoon.
Yeah.
So I totally failed.
You failed. Both kids are dead.
Did the chicken house just kick you?
Yeah, the chicken house kicked them.
Oh, nice.
So the way you would solve this room is you would... Actually, we shouldn't show. That's a spoiler. There is a way to solve to crack open the door and get the kids out in one piece, but we just failed miserably to do that.
And again, when is this coming out? Where can people get it? Do you have a price point yet, or?
So it's coming out. It's PS4, Vita, PC, and Mac via Steam, and right now the thinking is $15, but we haven't nailed anything down yet.
Cool. And there's obviously a lot to do here. You can throw children. You can throw raccoons. What more could you possibly want from a game?
That's right.
Anyway, Dave, thanks for chatting.
Thank you.
Yeah, keep your eyes open. The road not taken. See you later.